Has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment. How does the government's trade agenda create jobs for hard-working Australians, and how important is affordable and reliable energy for Australian exporters? Is the minister aware of any alternative approaches that would threaten Australia's trade competitiveness?
The Minister for Trade and Investment.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Maranoa for his question, because, like those on this side of the House, another person absolutely committed to opening up export markets for Australian businesses, who recognises that it's taken the coalition to open up a host of new opportunities abroad, opportunities which are driving our economy and driving employment opportunities for Australians. I note that under the free trade agreements that the coalition government's put in place, we've seen, for example, John Dee on the Southern Darling Downs, who's actually credited the coalition's FTAs as being key drivers of increases in global demand for their product. Now, that's enhanced future production levels, and we've seen in the member's own electorate that John Dee now, as a consequence of opening up markets like China and Japan, now increasing full-time employment by more than 140 employees. So that's ways in which the coalition's policy approach on these free trade agreements is really promoting opportunities for Aussies and for Aussie employment. And it stands, frankly, in stark contrast to the Australian Labor Party, because not only do they get the big calls on trade wrong — I mean, you'd recall, of course, the Australian Labor Party up until 1 minute to midnight were opposed to the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement. You'd recall, of course, that the Australian Labor Party condoned one of the most dishonest and disgusting campaigns that we've seen from the trade union movement against the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement. But we also see an Australian Labor Party that's tone deaf to the needs of our agricultural sector. The Agricultural Electricity Task Force, and this goes to the member's question about threats to our trade competitiveness, well, the Agricultural Electricity Task Force said, and I quote, "Electricity costs are crippling the agricultural sector." And that's precisely why the coalition is delivering reliable and affordable energy policy. Reliable and affordable energy that will make a real difference to our competitiveness on the international stage. And frankly, the contrast couldn't be clearer between the coalition and the Labor Party, because Australians have a choice. They can choose between the coalition or Labor. They can choose between reliability or a liability. They can choose between a coalition approach that's going to deliver cheaper and reliable and affordable energy, or they can choose between the $66 billion bill, because that's what the Australian Labor Party promises, a $66 billion bill that will make our competitors more in a stronger position, because Labor's policy, their ideological obsession with renewable energy, their ideological obsession with saying that they will take renewable energy to more than 50%, and we see it exemplified in South Australia, where we effectively have seen the collapse of sound energy policy in South Australia, because they adopted the kinds of policies that the $66 billion bill wanted to pursue at a federal level. And that's the reason why